podcast. And I just want to say they have no idea who you are. In today's episode, we are going to focus clearly and directly on exactly who you are. What has happened? We reach a point in life where there are more years behind us than ahead of us. And somehow, inadvertently, we can become marginalized, placed in a box, and basically led to believe that our value is actually minimal. Well, I would submit to you that you are in the best years of your life. You are at a point where you can have a great impact on not just the generation that you and I are a part of, but you can have a great impact on the next generation to come. I had an opportunity to read a book, and it's so powerful. I'm going to basically be talking to you from this content from this particular book called The Power Years. The Power Years by Ken Dykewald. And what's amazing about this book is it was written 20 years ago in 2005. And during the time of the publication, it was groundbreaking information portraying what the future would look like. I want you to know that you were mentioned 20 years ago, and the you that was mentioned in this book is very exactly the you that you are today. So, I'm going to say that we just made it through a season of, I would call it a season of isolation. That is over. We'll never do that again. We won't play those games. We were basically at the cost of fear. As a result of fear, we were all placed in silos and boxes. And in those boxes, we were basically told, especially those of us that are age 44 and older, that you really don't have a place. And actually, you might not live that long. As a matter of fact, you are likely to die. And what ended up happening, something shifted in a lot of our minds. And that shift basically had a lot to do with demoralization and the devaluing of wisdom, of knowledge, of experience. This is your secret weapon in the season that you are now in. I want you to imagine this: regardless of what you may have been told, you are greater than you know. Your best years are ahead of you, and the wisdom that you've gained over the years of experience, that wisdom that brought you to where you are now, is exactly the fuel and the ingredient that you need to launch into your future. They don't know who you are. I'm going to encourage you in this 365-day journey that you invest every waking moment in becoming better than you were yesterday. This is the way life works. If we live life without purpose and we live it randomly, as though there's so many days left that we can do whatever we want, we begin to live outside of purpose. I would submit to you that you nor I can no longer do that. There are things to be done. There is that book that needs to be written, those poems that need to be gathered, the recipes that you've accumulated over all the years. This is a perfect time to put that into a book and introduce it to the world. Your best days are yet ahead of you. Now, why is this so important? Sometimes people have a tendency of putting us back into a box that they created in their mind. They want us to live in a box that's in their head. Well, the powerful thing about wisdom is this. I remember a saying someone told me at one point. I can't even recall who it was, and I had no idea what it meant. And it basically went this way: I tried to teach you, but now I've got to learn you. You know, the funny thing about people, when they marginalize you and they put you in the box, especially when there's no knowledge, that is when it is critical that we read, that we study, that we enrich ourselves, and we participate in experiences like this, the journey of 365 days. As you see over my shoulder, we still have over 300 days left that we will share together. But please hear me. Don't take this for granted, because I assure you of one thing: I recognize the value of what we're doing. This, on the other side of these 365 days, will be a high priced item. It will not be available readily to individuals that want this type of guidance. I'm going to encourage you, do not miss the moment. I can use a couple of examples that will parallel where I believe the future is going. Because of the limited amount of time, even the greatest guides in the world will not have time except at a very high price. I would submit to you that just as people make a decision that they're going to spend 14 days climbing Mount Everest, starting at the bottom and going to the top, they spend great deals of time planning and basically laying out the journey to Mount Everest, and then laying out their diet and what they're going to pack and the clothes they need to have. They invest a lot of time doing that. And do you want to know what's interesting? For that 14-day experience, the cost to have a guide, it starts at the low range, 35 to 50,000. To have an experienced guide that can almost guarantee that you'll get to the top, that the cost on that is going to be 50,000 to $75,000. But when you have a guide that has been there, done that, knows the way, knows the landing spots, that knows the difference between base camp 1, 2, 3, and 4, that you're looking at $150,000 and up for a 14-day experience. I would submit to you that what we're doing right now has a price tag far above what many even understand. I'm going to spend a moment now reading to you from this book about the power years, which I'm going to encourage you to get. Every time those of us that were born between 1946 and 1964, every time we have taken a step, the spotlight of media has swiveled to illuminate us. By the weight of our sheer numbers, we have amplified and intensified the importance of all of our experiences. From the time we used were from the time we learned to use a baby bottle, then to read, play records, buy cars, vote, rent condos, and invest in the stock market, whenever we reached a stage of life, the issues that concern us, whether financial, interpersonal, hormonal, dietary, became the dominant social, political, and economic themes of the time. The needs and desires of our massive generation became the primary concern of business, as well as an unstoppable force in shaping popular culture. You know, this particular generation to whom I'm speaking right now has been compared to a pig being swallowed by a python. And I want you to imagine what that looks like for a moment. And I was going to do a visual in writing, but I've got tomorrow's object lesson laying on my desk, so I can't really do that. So I want you to imagine the thin body of a python, and he opens his mouth really wide and he is able to subdue a pig. As the pig is ingested by the python, it opens up like this. So the center, or the area where the pig is in the python, it's huge. And then beyond that, it's very narrow. What I'm saying to you is our movement through time has been so extraordinary that the quote unquote baby boomers are the generation that has changed the world. And why is this important? At the youngest age, the baby boomer is 60 years old. At the oldest age, the baby boomer is 90 right now. Why is that critical? If you are at the beginning or entering into the boomer year, you are in a power position right now, understanding the economic impact, the might, and the power that this particular generation continues to control. Why is that important? When we don't know who we are subject to the influence of individuals that don't know who we are. What I'm going to submit to you is you, my friend, are no joke. And with that being said, I'm going to read a couple of things to you that are very important. Because when you don't know who you are, you don't know who you are. Our demographic and financial wells of influence don't run dry as we mature. As a matter of fact, today's 50 plus men and women are the principal buyers of luxury cars, leisure travel, and high end gifts and jewelry. We own 50% of the mutual funds and 60% of all of the annuities, while making up right now approximately 20 to 25% of the population. Think about this. We control more than 70% of the wealth, and we account for more than 50% of consumer spending. We don't have to think about the decisions we make. We're in a position to make the decision, then stand behind it. What I want you to know is you are far greater and far more powerful once you've reached the age of 44 and beyond than you can ever imagine. This power, this influence should not be taken lightly. There is no reason for you to sit in the back when the front still has seats available. As a matter of fact, 20 years ago, they wrote the areas that were going to be the biggest money makers in the future because of this powerful generation of which you and I are a part. Specialty diagnostic treatment centers, therapeutically treated areas that address skin and bones, nutraceuticals that are engineered with macro and micronutrients to fight aging, cosmetical rejuvenation, anti-aging spas, exercise gear and equipment, training programs, smart acoustic systems, telephones, radios, and TVs that can be voice activated. As a matter of fact, silver seals for hire teams for the elderly that would be brought in to solve the problems of the day. Retirement zones like the villages in Florida, or right here in Michigan, like the Blossom Ridge, or like Delray in Florida. These areas would become just nest beds for wealth and success. Adventure travel, mature employment and career transition coordinators, mature dating services, longevity oriented communities, longevity health, intergenerational housing areas, urban arts and retirement communities, club med like residences for those that enjoy active social programs, universities that are based on intergenerational training and teaching with housing for older people who desire lifelong learning. And the list goes on and on and on. The reason that I'm sharing this with you today is there are many people that tune in to the No Time to Waste podcast. And we've been told because you tried this, and this, and you were not successful, you, my friend, some would say, have failed. I I submit to you that you are not a failure, that every experience that you have gone on and gone through, those experiences actually gave you the wisdom necessary to catapult success, to literally shift. The word that God gave me when I was in a conundrum and had no idea what to do next, when it seemed as though I had hit a wall, not really being able to navigate what is the future actually going to look like for me. God gave me one word, and I'm going to give that word to you right now. One word. And the power of God is that He doesn't need to give you 18 verses, a scripture reference. He doesn't need to give you a whole Bible story for you to get the picture. Literally, one word can transform your life. The word that the Lord gave me was pivot. Pivot. Pivot, pivot. And when I heard that word, I had no idea what it meant. Pivot, shift. That means, regardless of the direction that you've been going in, you are not too old. It is not too late to pivot, to shift. You can do it. And I would submit to you that when you make the decision in your mind, things will be different in my future. I am not preparing for retirement. I am preparing for reinvigoration. I am preparing for a restart, not retire, but reboot, restart, reclaim all those things that have been held back from you. And guess what? This journey will not be one that you succeed in alone. This journey will require the assistance of a guide. This journey will require the assistance of a team. Just if you can imagine a network of individuals that are all pushing in your direction for your favor. I'm going to encourage you. Keep your antennas up. Keep your mind open. Read more than you've read. Listen to positive, encouraging, motivating information. Listen to worship music that glorifies and exalts the risen Savior. Don't waste time with gloom and doom scrolling. Use your time effectively and efficiently, because that is the gift that the Creator has given you for such a time as this. The wisdom that has been poured inside of you, that's been nurtured and developed over the years. Get ready. It's time for you, my friend, to share what's been placed inside of you. There are people whose lives are hanging in the balance, waiting on a word from you. Now, I'm going to end with this. It's going to be critical that you become your worst critic, that you look at the words you say and reevaluate them. Was that the right thing? Did that edify? Did that build up? Did that encourage? Did that provide motivational guidance? If it didn't, don't worry. There's tomorrow. I've always believed each and every day that the sun rises. I believe it is a gift from our Creator. Just a reminder that you now have one more chance. And I want you to remember another word. So I gave you one word, which is pivot. The last word I'm going to give you for this segment is unstoppable. Be unstoppable. Think unstoppable. Let nothing stop you. There is work to be done, and you are the person that's been assigned the task. There are things that must be done, and you have been selected to get them done. Just like today, even though we've got all of this camera equipment in here and it didn't work, I had to make a decision. What are you going to do? Are you going to moan, groan, complain, whine? Or are you going to embrace a new word, unstoppable? You are a part of a chosen generation, more special than you know. Some would say royal, almost a priesthood. If you read the book of truth, I'll tell you something. I'm in agreement with what God has said about you. And this is going to be your best year, and you are moving into your finest season. Tune in tomorrow. We have an amazing, amazing, amazing author that'll be with us live and is so extraordinary. He's written an amazing book and is doing great work in metropolitan Detroit. With that being said, I'd like to thank our corporate sponsor and host, Care Michigan. Care Michigan is a medical case management and care coordination company based in the city of Troy in the state of Michigan. Care Michigan specializes in working with individuals that have been severely injured in motor vehicle accidents. So if you or anyone that you know is suffering the effects of a severe motor vehicle accident, why don't you call Care Michigan at 1-833 696 2626 and let them know that you heard about them on the No Time to Waste podcast. In addition, please visit their website at www.caremichigan.com. Thank you so much for joining with us. Tomorrow is going to be extraordinary, and you do not want to miss it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be featuring my guest, Mr. Author, writer, creator, business entrepreneur, and really an extraordinary gentleman, Mr. Manish Patel. Make sure that you're here. Don't miss it. Now, this is the rest of our day. Let's go.